Mary, Queen of Scots, historical accuracy versus cinematic emotion. The rivalry. What was the actual history of the rivalry between Mary, Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth I? Did the movie do it justice? Mary and Elizabeth's rivalry wasn't driven by personal jealousy, even though the film portrays it that way. Historically, their conflict came from lineage disputes, religious tensions, and political pressures in a male dominated world. Family tree. How are they related and why do they both have strong claims? Well, Mary and Elizabeth are related through King Henry. King Henry is Queen Elizabeth's father, and King Henry's sister, Margaret Tudor, is Mary's grandmother. So that is how they are related. Mary has a direct claim to the English throne as well as the Scottish throne. And Elizabeth has her claim after her sister and her brother died. She was the next in line for the throne in England. Why was Elizabeth's claim disputed? So ultimately, her claim was disputed because King Henry, who was known for deposing wives as he got tired of them, he had divorced his first wife, which the Catholic Church did not accept. So he did it anyway and broke ties with the Catholic Church and converted to being a Protestant. So he did that in order to be able to marry Anne Boleyn. So when he married Anne Boleyn, he too got tired of her and she didn't give him an heir. So then he annulled their marriage, and therefore Elizabeth was considered and declared illegitimate. Mary's early life. She was born on December 8th, 1542. She was declared Queen of Scotland at 6 days old. In 1448, she was sent to France at the age of 5 via a marriage alliance. She was betrothed to the Dauphin. And there is a portrait of the two. And it was actually very important in her life because she had her upbringing there. So she learned a lot from the French. And the French, it's, a lot about fashion and all that other stuff that they're known for. Her marriage was barely really talked about in the film, which I feel like it should have been because it was a big reason of who she was at the time of returning to Scotland. So her return to Scotland. Mary returned to Scotland in 1561 after Francis died. Her return was complicated because the Scotland she left as a child had transformed her during the Protestant Reformation. She came home as a Catholic queen ruling a mostly Protestant nation. This tension made it difficult for her to gain trust. The film shows her return as a confident and hopeful queen, but in reality, it was politically fragile from the very beginning. Religious division. Religion was one of the strongest forces shaping the rivalry. Mary, a devout Catholic, was considered a major threat to Protestant stability. Elizabeth's Protestant rule was condemned by the Pope, who excommunicated her and encouraged Catholics not to obey her. This meant Mary wasn't just another queen. She symbolized a possible Catholic alternative to replace Elizabeth. Mary and Elizabeth's portrayal on film. In the film, Mary is shown as young, beautiful, and emotionally strong, while Elizabeth is portrayed as older, paranoid, and mentally deteriorating. These portrayals support modern themes of empowerment and vulnerability, but ignore the actual political realities. Mary's scandals. So her first scandal was marrying Henry Strudel, Lord Darnley, whom was also a Catholic, an English Catholic, whom also had a claim of his own to the throne, although it was not as close as Mary's. But together, they kind of made a possible power couple that can threaten Elizabeth. So Elizabeth did not like that. Then she had a really good friend, her closest confidant. It was Italian, named David Rizzio, who was murdered. And that not only showed that Queen Mary couldn't even protect her closest people, it also there was also a rumor that her husband, Lord Darnley, was behind it. So that just made it even more scandalous. And then there was a motive for her to be mad at him, at Lord Darnley. Then Lord Darnley was murdered, and the suspect on the murder was the 4th Earl of Bothwell, James Hepburn, whom she married not too far after the death of Lord Darnley. So all of that just looked scandalous, and her own people started turning against her. So this is a fictional meeting that happened in the movie, but it did not happen in reality. And I'm sorry if there's ads, but I'm going to try to find the little scene where I want you guys to see how the movie admits that Elizabeth was motivated by jealousy against Mary, which is not how it really happened.
Between Molly leaving and Mom's osteoporosis, I thought life was going to slow down. Boy, was I wrong. If you have... Be scolded.
Sorry about that. There's another one. No.
I'm a busy guy, and I'm not always thinking about my health.
By my inferior. You're inferior. I am a steward, which gives me greater claim to England than you possess.
Creators, the best holiday find isn't in these boxes. It's product tagging with YouTube Shop.
I had this made because I wanted to present the best version of myself. I was jealous. Your beauty, your bravery, your mother.
So here is a clear example of how the film portrays Elizabeth as being jealous of Mary. So we're going to move on. Themes and argument. So the overall themes and argument are that the real rivalry reveals 3 key factors: gender expectations, political manipulation, and religious conflict. These themes show why the historical rivalry matters more than the movie version. Why this matters. Understanding the real history helps students recognize bias in historical writing and film. It allows them to see how women in power are often misrepresented, and teaches critical thinking about how narratives are shaped. And I really hope you liked my presentation.